Behavioral interview questions are some of the more popular questions to be asked in an interview. And as a candidate, you're definitely going to encounter them. And that's no different with your interview with Accenture. The thing about behavioral interview questions, though, is they're really complicated. And I've been in recruitment for 15 years, and the reality is they trip up a lot of candidates. But that's not going to happen to you, because in today's video, I'm going to give you some of the actual behavioral interview questions they asked during your Accenture interview, and I'm going to teach you how to answer them from a recruiter's perspective. Now, this is video 2 in a 4-part series. So if this is the first video you are seeing in the series, make sure you go to the playlist and watch the first video and stick around to the very end, because at the very end of this video, I'm going to tee up the next video, the third video, right here on the screen. All right, let's get started. Okay, so first and foremost, what is a behavioral interview question? Behavioral interview question is a question that basically asks you about something that happened in your past that is applicable to this job, and they ask you to walk them through what happened and how did you handle that situation. Now, you can tell you're being asked a behavioral interview question because they'll say something along the lines of, tell me about a time when, or give me an example of a time when, or can you share a story of a time when? Time when are the words you were looking for. That is indicating a past experience you had, and then they're going to ask you to walk them through what you did. Okay, so once you're asked a behavioral interview question, how do you answer them? Well, you need to use the STAR method. The STAR method is a framework to help you answer behavioral interview questions. It's an acronym, and it stands for situation, task, action, result. Situation, so like what were you doing? Where were you working? What was your job? Task. What specific scenario came up that they're asking you to explain? Action. What was your response to that stimuli? Whatever happened, how did you respond? And then finally, result. What was the outcome here? At the end of all this, what was the end result? And then sometimes when it makes sense, feel free to throw an L on the end for lesson. What did you learn from this? If there's something that is applicable, that changed the way you view a scenario like that moving forward, feel free to throw that in the end to show that you're learning something from that situation. Okay, with that being said, let's get into some of the actual questions they're going to ask you in the interview. Okay, so the first question is, tell me about a time you completed a challenging project. Now, someone who's been in recruiting for 15 years, I can tell you they're asking this question for a few reasons. One, project work is clearly important to this role. So they just want to get an idea like, yes, you've done that, you're comfortable, you can talk through it. You can articulate how to manage or handle projects that are complicated, comfortably. The second thing is they're looking for what you consider to be difficult. When they're asking about a challenging project, they're expecting you to tell them a story about something that was really challenging. There was a lot of facets of whatever project you were overseeing that was really complicated. So people actually get this wrong because they give them a project that wasn't challenging. Like as a recruiter, the HR person, or the hiring manager listening to it, and you go, that doesn't sound like too complicated of a project. You're not going to get the answer right. So it's really important to do a few things here, right? Have an example ready to go. That example needs to be complicated. Like clearly this was a challenging project, and you need to be able to talk through it in a way in which you are clearly confident in your skills, abilities, and your process to handle challenging projects. I think it's really important that you walk them through your process for handling it and what you did. So make sure you use the STAR method, situation, task, action, result. Make sure it's a very complicated project, and make sure throughout all of your answer you exude confidence, so at the end they feel like, okay, I feel confident in this person's ability to handle a difficult project. Now, one of the things that's really important is you want to make sure you're doing the right things in the interview to get the best salary possible, because that's what this is all about, right? It's about the money. And if you want to get the best offer possible, go down in the description box. In there, you'll see my full salary negotiation guide. It is only $9.99. But if you follow the tactics, the strategies, the templates that I have included in that document, you could get up to $10,000 additional dollars in your offer. I've been in recruitment for 15 years, and the reality is the way candidates navigate the job interview process and the way they position themselves and create leverage makes a huge difference in the offer. So go down, check that out, and I'll help you get more money in your next offer. The next question is, tell me about a time you adopted a new system or process that significantly changed your approach to doing things. Okay, so what they're trying to get through here is this the type of person who's going to be open to change? The reality is, it is 2025 right now. I don't know when you're watching this. It could be in the future, 2026, 2027. But the reality is things change. Things change fast. Technology is moving. AI is a part of our lives. It wasn't a part of our lives 2 years ago. right? So things are changing rapidly and they want to hire someone who is open to change, somebody who embraces change, somebody who is able to roll with the punches, adapt quickly, and still contribute at a high level. So you still want to use the STAR method, but the thing that you want to do here is you want to let them know, whatever example you pull from your past, you need to let them know that you are comfortable with change. So when you're answering it, it might sound like, this is a really good question. I was working at A, B, and C company as a blank, and we implemented a brand new blank process. And I have to say, it was a really big change, but my mindset is whenever you do a big change like that, it's important to embrace it right away, be an early adopter, and learn as much as you can as quickly as possible. That way, not only are you proficient, but you can help other people on your team as they learn how to handle the new process system, whatever, right? What I did there was I talked through it with enthusiasm. I'm an early adopter, helping people and a teammate. So that's how you can start. And then you can walk that's basically a good way to walk them through the beginning of this answer and show them that you're someone who's not intimidated by change, you embrace change, and you're willing to use your comfortability with that to level up the people around you on your team. So if you can incorporate that into your answer, you're going to come off as a great teammate who's someone who isn't afraid of change. The next question is, tell me about a time you collaborated with a difficult individual, like a challenging customer or a difficult teammate. Okay, really good question here. It's really complicated because you have to describe someone as difficult without being overly negative and then walk them through how you were able to navigate that situation so that the end result was positive. So you can choose a difficult teammate if you like. You can choose someone who's a customer. So choose a story from your past. But it's really important here to thread the needle of clearly demonstrating why this person was challenging to work with without speaking too negatively about them. It never benefits you to be overly negative in a job interview. No hiring manager has ever said to me, Ben, go find me someone who is super negative. That is not something people look for, but it's important you answer this question as it would pose to you. So make sure you use the STAR method. If you're gonna find something from your past where it's a difficult teammate, make sure you're generous in the way you describe them. Say, this person was a little bit difficult to work for because they didn't always turn things on time and they were frequently late. My approach to making sure that we had a collaborative partnership, and then that's a positive spin on it. Same thing with customer. You don't want to make the customer seem terrible and describe them too negatively. You want to be understanding of that customer while fairly describing why they might have been challenging to work with. That's the balance you need to strike here, because you don't want to be overly negative, but you do want to demonstrate that they were challenging to work with, but how you easily and willingly overcame that to achieve a successful outcome. That is what you were trying to do when you answer this question. Now, another really important question they're going to ask you in the interview process is, why do you want to work here? Why do you want to work at Accenture? It's probably the most important interview question they're going to ask you, and it's so important that I made a full video about it right here. It's the third video in the series. It's a must watch, so I'll see you over there.